So this is the timeline that I made. It's more accurate than just adding time. It's when you use an actual timeline. You can see it's just that it's more accurate, so it'll actually finish in 3.5 seconds instead of finishing faster. Because if you try to add milliseconds, just add them with a delay, it's twice as slow. And I did it, and I put plus 0.2, or I added plus 0.1 twice, and it's about twice as slow, but the problem was I kept getting even numbers, so I couldn't be sure that it was accurate, because I was like, I can't keep getting, I don't want to get even numbers, I want the exact time, I want it to finish in the exact time. So that's what I have now, using the timeline that I got from this race counter that they had. I like what he did, with adding a timeline. I just didn't like all the rest of it. So you would go to the event graph and add a timeline, and then you would double click it, go into it, add a float track, name it, and it'll pop up with something you can link, and then hit use last keyframe, shift left click twice, put one value to 0, one value to 999 or something high that you'll never reach, and then create a float variable. This is all in your level blueprint. Create a float variable time, plug it in, and set it, and then just link them up. This doesn't have to be there, it's just a troubleshoot. Obviously, just don't press print to screen, because you'll be using just text for it. That's what's on mine. So to get it to start, you gotta zero it out first. So every time I press F, I just set your time to 0 right off the bat when you press F in a sequence, just in case. I want everything zeroed out. I don't want to deal with any problems down the road if something stores in the memory or whatever. I don't know what it'll do, but first thing it's gonna do, is first it sets to 0, then it delays 3 seconds, and then the second thing it does on this F click is it stops it. So stopping it will make it go down to 0. So it's going. It'll zero it out, and then after 3 seconds it'll start going again. So the delay 3 seconds is play from start, and then right before that happens, it stops it. So before it happens, stop it, then play from start. That's how that goes. You don't need a gate or anything. You just need a sequence. And for the timers, you just create bindings for both. Go into the graph and create a variable, time 2 for one, time 3 for the other, or whatever you want to call them, and just plug them up to text and float. And I was like, man, this is just so simple. Is it going to work? And it ended up working, because sometimes you never know, but just that's what it returns. It just returns a float value, and that's what I got. For these, just make sure the anchor is spread out, so it doesn't get wonky on your screen. And then all you do is create a time widget. I've got mine event begin play. Do not event tick the create time widget, or it'll keep creating it over and over again, and you won't even be able to see the numbers. But you do need an event tick to update the variables that you set. So just return, and then see set time 2 or time 3 from the timer widget, and then the variable that you have here, you would get them and then plug them straight in, plug them into the return, add to viewport as usual, player controller, event tick goes into each, event begin play goes into create timer widget, and you created it. And then obviously the best time, the record time, you would have a branch that said if the record time or the time being recorded is less than the actual time, then on a trigger or whatever, on actor begin overlap. So that's if your guy crosses the finish line, you make a trigger if he crosses the finish line, and the time is time pause from time needs to be set, or so the record time needs to be set to something like 20, 26, whatever, however long you think it needs to be. You need to have a record time, and if the time that's being counted is less than the record time, and that condition is true, then time sets to record time, and you have your new time set. So you can see my original record time, or time pause from time, is 26. If I pass it, 1.994. But that's the accurate way. I'm telling you, if you add it, and you can do this, and I've tried many ways to do it. Like, if you add the float, 0.01, plug it in. Now try, oops, whatever. I can delete that. I hope. Who cares? I've tried many ways to do it, where you plug time in, and because you usually delay it to get it to go. 0.2, 0.1, 0.2, to speed it up. It just doesn't. It's not accurate. It's twice as slow. It will never be accurate. It has to be through. This time span is on. It's easier, and it's like crazy because I was seeing him doing it. I was like, man, that's easier. And creating the time is easier with the bindings. It's just less of a hassle. It was just a new tool. So I was like, man, I wasn't like ready for, but I mean, I just followed it exactly, and then it's not that complicated once you get into it. And then it counts it down. It almost seemed too easy, but I was surprised it worked, but I'm glad it did. So a timeline is the most accurate way to get it and get the best time, get the most precise time. Because I was tired of it not being precise. Where you're racing it, and it's just not. If you when I was just adding milliseconds, I was racing it. It was twice as slow. So it was like, if I finish it in 9 seconds, I would finish it and like it would clock that at 4.5, and that's like, wow, it's a faster time. That's not good because when you race it again as a ghost, it's running 4.5 seconds. It's like there's no way I can beat that. So it was like I had to figure out a way to make it as precise as possible. So this was how I did it. I use the Google stopwatch to like time it and see like something's up, something's wrong. So it's twice as slow when you add the milliseconds, but when you just use a timeline, it's just, I love that accuracy. I love it down to the dot. I think that's really cool.